a handmade enamel dial, a sapphire case, and a tourbillon movement for under $2,000. Yes, you heard that right. I have a micro brand here that is offering high-end traditional elements for a head-scratching price. This is Manilone. This is their first watch. It has a grand Feu Enamel dial, a sapphire hybrid case, an MT1 caliber skeletonized tourbillon movement, and you just don't see these elements often, sub $10,000, let alone all of them in one watch that's under $2,000. Depending on how this watch is configured, you can buy it for as little as $800 or as much as $1,800. So that being said, what is the deal here? Why is this so inexpensive? Is the quality bad? Is there a catch? What are you missing? Well, honestly, I was so intrigued when Manilone reached out and they asked if I would be interested in reviewing this watch. So there was just no way that I was passing on the opportunity, which I actually do quite often. I say no to watch review requests on a regular basis, not because I'm some, I don't know, prima donna or something. I have to be personally interested in a watch if I want to take the time to film it and to edit it and to present it on the channel. And so I am personally interested in this, but I'll try to be as objective as possible in presenting the good, presenting the bad, and presenting the ugly with this Grand Feu Enamel Tourbillon Manilone. Now let's start with the dial. What is Grand Feu? Well, I apologize for my pronunciation, but this translates from French to big fire or great fire. This is in reference to the creation of the enamel layers. So the craftsman will take colored powdered glass and they paint it onto a metal base plate. They paint it on to the dial. Then it is heated to about 1500 degrees. That's Fahrenheit. And that's so the enamel powder will melt and form a glassy surface. The artisan will then repeat this painting and baking process multiple times in order to get a deep, layered, reflective surface. Manilone fires these dials between 6 and 8 different times to get this effect, and it is a time-intensive process. You do need to have skills to be able to do this and not have a high failure rate because, there's a lot of points where this could go wrong, where it could crack, where it could be uneven. It's a difficult process, and that's why we rarely see the effect done in watches that cost less than $10,000. Now, Manilone offers this watch with 3 different color options. They do it in red, in blue, or in green like I have in front of the camera today. Now, I am going to be giving this watch away within my Patreon group. I asked my patrons to vote on which color we should get in for review and then, this giveaway. And green was the clear majority. I think it's a beautiful color. It's not often that you see green enamel, and I think Manilone has done a very nice job with this. The green and the blue colors cost the same, with the red color carrying a premium over the prior two. And I would just assume that this is due to the fact that red has a higher fail rate than green or blue. Now let's take a closer look at this hybrid sapphire case. Essentially what we have here is a polished curved steel base that is basically the lug in the case back system. It's a high polish finish, and I will say the edges are a bit abrupt. I have not noticed a hot spot or anything like that, but it does leave something to be desired when it comes to the edge work on the underside of the steel portion. But on top of that, screwed on is a clear sapphire crystal, and I like to think of this as one massive super bubble crystal that covers the movement, it covers the dial, and I think it looks really interesting. This shape will allow you to view the thick enamel dial from every angle, as well as the skeletonized tourbillon caliber within. This is nearly scratch-proof, coming in at a 9 on the Mohs scale, with diamond being the hardest value at a 10. Notice how the crown has a sapphire cap to it. I think that's a really fun detail, though in just regards to practicality, it is a little difficult for me to grip the sapphire for this crown and wind the movement and set the time, just because it is pretty slippery. Minor negative, but you know what? I felt like I needed to mention it here. The effect is very cool. The concept is very cool. Now, given the Sapphire hybrid case, it makes this tall watch feel a little bit thinner. It measures in at 12.9 from flat case back to top of this massive sapphire crystal. The steel lugs do arc down or turn down, and that sits below the case back plane. This will help the watch just flow naturally and conform to the curve of your wrist. And for reference, my wrist size is 7.25 inches in circumference. Now, lastly, let's take a look at this movement. It is based on the Hangzhou 36K0 Tourbillon caliber, so this has been skeletonized, as so much of it is visible behind this expansive crystal. And to be completely candid, I did not have high expectations in terms of the movement finish or the accuracy of the caliber, but I've been surprised here. The movement looks fine under the macro lens. I don't see imperfections. I don't see hairs. I don't see fibers. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to compare this to a Parmigiani Fleurier or a Vacheron Constantin or anything like that. But considering the price of the Manilone, I am pleasantly surprised at the movement details. And realistically speaking, this is the only way that I can comfortably afford a watch with a tourbillon complication. Generally, tourbillons are found in watches that cost tens of thousands of dollars, and I recognize that this is not competing with those high horology tier watches, but I do get a good flavor of the recipe for a mere pittance of the price, and that's something that I can get behind. Now, the caliber does not hack. It has 20 joules. It has 60 hours of power reserve, and I cannot speak to the surfacing costs or the recommended service intervals, but I can speak to the accuracy. This has been keeping perfect time since I've had it in the past 3 weeks, and the watch will come with a 3-year manufacturer warranty. Now, that said, where does this watch feel like its price? Not packing above its price, but where does it feel its price? Or maybe fall a little bit short. I've mentioned a couple elements throughout the course of the video, but I would say there's one thing that stands out to me, and that is this strap. It's a basic black padded leather strap, and it does not feel premium. If I were keeping this tourbillon, that is the first thing that I would want to upgrade. And I could see having a shell cordovan made with green stitching, or perhaps getting a brown or even a green alligator strap, something that would elevate the package and inject some more playfulness into this already bold design. Now, just in closing, who do I think this watch is for? I would say it is not for the watch fan who is spending over $1,000 for the first time. I think if you're in that camp, it's my recommendation that you start with a classic Hamilton or Tissot or Seiko or Oris. I think if you are a little more seasoned, you're not new to spending over $1,000 on one watch, you're not new to micro brands, then I think this one is intriguing. It is not an exaggeration. We don't see grand Feu Enamel dials, hybrid sapphire cases, or skeletonized tourbillon movements at this price often. So I think if you want a taste of these elements, but have zero desire to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a high-end Swiss version or Japanese version or German version, then this is one to consider. It is fully Chinese made, and they are proud of that fact. I like the fact that these two founders of the brand Manilone, they're not trying to play games about what calibers they're using, how their watches are made, where they come from. I think the transparency is great, and it leaves me thinking, where are they making their money? They can't have big margins on each watch. It appears that they're passing on the value to us consumers, at least with this first launch. So pricing is here on the screen. Orders will close on Saturday, May 11th. So depending on when you're watching this video, it could just be a few days from now. Production will take place in June and July, with the final watches shipping out in August. So just a couple months from now. All links are below. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching today, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you next time.